This video has been way overdue, I know, but here we go. Now 2009 has been a really good year for movies, even though there's been some pretty shit movies come out, but that's beside the point. Now, as you know, on my YouTube account, I've been saying that I've not been able to review every single movie I've seen, but I've reviewed as many as I can. So this is a movie mentions list for the movies that didn't get a review. So let's get into this video, and now let's get into it. Okay, movie mentions. Now first of all, here's the film. First on the list is Whiteout. Literally nobody has seen this film, and it basically stars Kate Beckinsale, and it's all about these group of people who are stuck in the Antarctica, and they have to try and escape. But unfortunately, a bunch of murders start occurring, and it becomes a mystery thriller to try and get them out of the Antarctica, solve the murders before the winter comes, and they're stuck there for another 6 months. Overview of the film. Pretty good. You know, I didn't really expect it to be good at all, but I really do think that it had interesting aspects in terms of the thriller aspect of it. You know, criticism, the ending was a bit rushed, but all the same. Still a good movie nonetheless. So 3.5 stars out of 5 for Whiteout. Next on the list is Dorian Gray. Now, if you basically just look at, say, like of The Omen, it's a pretty similar plot to this. Actually, no. Imaginary Dr. Parnassus. It's a similar thing to that, where basically he just is selling his soul to the devil. Need I say more? Overview of the film. First half, really dragging. Nothing happened at all, and I was not impressed one bit. Second half made up for it though. It really kicked into high gear and gave some action as well. So 3.5 stars out of 5 also for Dorian Gray. Next on the list is Adventureland. Now this is the first Jesse Eisenberg film I've seen, although I later saw Zombieland. Easily better than this film, but what I liked about this film was that it was a realistic drama about, you know, getting a summer job, meeting girls and whatnot, and all the complications that come in a relationship. I really liked how realistic it was, and it was really, again, realistic in terms of teenage hormones as well. So I praise the director and Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart, who actually gave a good performance, and the plot basically is just about him getting a summer job to raise money for something that he wants. And of course it turns into a drama about who he meets on the way. 4 out of 5 for Adventureland. Next is Inglourious Basterds. Now, I've only seen 2 Quentin Tarantino movies, and this is one of them. The other one I've seen is Jackie Brown. Forget the fact I haven't seen Pulp Fiction yet. I will get round to it, but Inglourious Basterds is the film I'm talking about here. Now, the plot is just basically, it takes place in a Nazi-occupied France, and they basically and Brad Pitt's character has a group of people called the Bastards, and what happens is that they've got to try and capture as many Nazis as they can, just for the fun of it, and the Germans have got to try and stop them. And it all comes together with a girl who owns a cinema, and all these plot threads come together at the end. Overview. Not as good as I wanted it to be, but it was a really good film. I think that it could have been improved had there been a bit less dialogue and had the scenes been cut down a bit. But overall, it's a really good time at the movies, and it's definitely made me get into Quentin Tarantino's work. And I will see Pulp Fiction, no doubt about it. Next is Surrogates, starring Bruce Willis. And it's basically, if you take the plot of iRobot and take all the robots out and replace them with surrogates, hence the title, you know, then you've pretty much got surrogates. So, what did I think of it? Again, not as good as I wanted it to be. The middle section was awful, but the beginning and the end were pretty good, and the action was pretty decent as well. So 3.5 stars out of 5 for Surrogates. Now, next on the list is Fame, the new one. I haven't seen the original, but this is the remake. Now, you'll be asking me, why did you go and see Fame? You know, well, the reason being, cut a long story short, we were going to see Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs in 3D. 3D went kaput, so, you know, we've had the choice of going home or going to see this, and we thought we might as well see this if it's free. And I have to say, it's actually a pretty good film, but you know, and basically it's a similar plot to High School Musical, except this isn't as well executed as the High School Musical franchise. Yes, I do like them. Don't judge, you know, but it's just basically about them entering a dance competition, a dance class and whatnot, and trying to excel at things they do. But all I can say is it's a good movie, but it's not something I'd want to watch again, over and over again. So 3.5 stars out of 5 at best for Fame. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs in 3D. Now, I gave this the lowest rating out of everybody I went to see, but basically it follows the story of this guy who wants to try and change the world with his inventions and whatnot, and he's not getting many recognition for it. But what happens is he ends up inventing a machine to transform a dull fish-like island, literally, into having all this food falling from the sky, and he has to try and stop the machine before it's too late, before it comes flooded. So, good film, 3D, not necessarily needed, but still a good film nonetheless. So 3.5 stars out of 5 for Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 3D. Next on the list is the film that's directed by Catherine Bigelow and won Best Picture at the Oscars, and it's The Hurt Locker. Now, I was quite surprised this beat Avatar, although Hurt Locker is a good film, right? And it basically follows pretty much guys disarming bombs in Iraq, but it's a really powerful and realistic thriller that grips you in from beginning to end. I didn't love it though, because again the middle section had too much dialogue in it, I think, and it didn't move the story along quicker, but I can also praise it for being realistic at the same time. I just think Avatar was the better film out of the two in my opinion, but Hurt Locker, still a really good movie. A Christmas Carol in 2D is next. Now I didn't bother with a 3D version, so let's forget that. And it's just basically the story of how Scrooge, voiced by Jim Carrey excellently, it's just basically how he doesn't appreciate Christmas, and of course, you know, he ends up going through this transition that makes him appreciate it a bit more. So, a very good film. Could have been a bit less of a flashback film, but all the same, still very good. 4 stars out of 5 for Christmas Carol. Next is Fantastic Mr. Fox. Now, I did not like this movie much at all. At best, it's going to be 2.5 stars, and I'm not even going to. And there isn't really that much of a plot to Fantastic Mr. Fox, so I'm not even going to bother trying to explain it. All I'm going to say is that the animation was a bit cheesy, the dialogue was a little bit off. I don't know, something about this film just didn't work for me. But there were some parts that were pretty funny, so for that reason alone, I'm giving it an extremely generous 2.5 stars out of 5. Next, The Men Who Stare at Goats. Now this is another George Clooney film, and thankfully this is much better than Fantastic Mr. Fox, or as one of our friends calls it, Fantastic Mr. Flop. Forget about that. Men Who Stare at Goats, it just basically follows Hugh McGregor's character, as he follows George Clooney's character to, I think it's Iraq or some sort of, you know, desert country, whatever, but to get a big break for the story he needs. And it was a good film, but I didn't get enough laughs out of it that I wanted to get it. You know, I would have liked to have had, it was a bit more of a psychological, wouldn't say a thriller, but a psychological comedy. But I think it lost the comedy aspect of it. But all the same, it didn't do a crap job at it like 500 Days of Summer did. God, I hate that movie with my guts. And finally on the list is The Fourth Kind. Now this stars Mila Jovovich, who is in the Resident Evil films, and she was in Ultraviolet as well. And this basically follows the story of Abigail Tyler, who interviews these people who basically have seen aliens or some sort of unknown species, and she has to try and get to the bottom of the mystery. Again, something about this movie just prevented it from being great, but nonetheless was still a really good film. Well, at least a good one. So 3.5 stars out of 5 for The Fourth Kind. So that's the movie mentions list, and my next review should be either Sherlock Holmes, or in response to Wetboy40's comments on my channel, to do a review of the Spider-Man films. So either the Spider-Man films or Sherlock Holmes will be the next review. And that will be coming your way very soon. So until next time, YouTube, Michael Bowers signing out.